Mà cái người mà ở Virginia mà đã đem cái cuốn phim để chiếu mà để đi đấu giải cho hội Á Châu hội Á Châu của phim festival ở DC cùng với US Khơi để chiếu cái cuốn phim này là Mạnh Nguyễn.
Xin cảm ơn quý vị đã tới góp phần tối nay. Back in May, we hosted an event at the National Historical Society Theater with Captain Jacob and a couple of his crew. The outcome was tremendous, and I also hosted at DLA Aviation in Richmond for federal employees, and planning on hosting some more high schools around the Virginia area. And again, I don't know what to say about thank you.
At this time, we wanted to introduce the VAFA chapter, the VAFA DC Maryland, Virginia chapter that we started here, and we want to thank the community leaders for supporting us. So if I can have Mr. Doan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the day of reflection, the day of remembrance, the day of prayers for almost 3,000 people who died in 9/11 attacks 10 years ago. Today, we honor the Vietnamese fallen heroes. And today is the first time the Vietnamese community knows that Vietnamese American Armed Forces Association. So we wish all of you, the members of the association, to be successful in the future. We Vietnamese American community are proud of you who are fighting for freedom values that your parents fought for and risked their lives to achieve them. And also, we like to express our support to your association, and we congratulate to the recipients of scholarship awards today. Thank you. God bless you and bless your night.
And on behalf of VAFA, we want to say thank you. And again, VAFA is now coast to coast. We started the association in 2008 over in California, and now we are here. In between that, we were in Houston. So we remember our roots and where we came from. Although we have grown, we still remember where we came from. And so tonight we are so honored to have Attorney Nguyễn Xuân Nghĩa. He's actually the representative, the community leader over in California of the Vietnamese Americans over in Southern California. He's here with his lovely wife to join us and to share the support that VAFA has enjoyed for so long from all of our Vietnamese friends and well-wishers. And yeah, please come on up and say a few words, please.
Thank you, Chris. Well, on behalf of the Vietnamese American Federation of Southern California, we believe that this event is so meaningful that we have the chance to pay respect to those who have fought during the Vietnam War, Americans as well as Vietnamese soldiers side by side, so that our young generation like Chris and myself could be safe at the city, so that we can go on with our lives, to go to school, to go to the church. And then the fall of Saigon happens, and like all we know right now is it's not because of we lose at the battle in the war, but because of the strategy from the politician in Washington DC that we lose the war. But after that, right now, 36 years later, we have Vietnamese American Armed Force formed, and they done some marvelous job. Not only that we pay respect to our brothers that have sacrificed their life for the fight of freedoms, to show that we come here as a refugee, we honor freedom, and we continue to fight side by side until one day when Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and around the world can enjoy the freedom like we enjoyed here. And I believe that for all of us together here tonight, that is the good cause, and that will be continue to the future. And I applaud for the job that VAFA have done, and we on behalf of the Vietnamese American Federation of Southern California, we're gonna support you, and not only support you, but we're gonna shake hand with Mr. Do Hong Anh, representative of the Vietnamese American community here, so that we can continue our fight until freedom, democracy, and human rights will be brought back to Vietnam. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Ian.
Okay, Vafa would like to pay tribute to some special families tonight. And there are 3 Gold Star families in attendance tonight who have lost their loved ones in Afghanistan or Iraq. We'd like to have these families come to the stage at this time. First, we would like to recognize and thank Kristen Santos Silva and her son Cameron for honoring our community by attending our banquet. Please come forward. So we have this plaque here for you, and it's a Courage and Hope Award, and it reads, "We acknowledge your grief and honor the loving memory of your husband and dad." Okay. Sergeant First Class Carlos M. Santos Silva, who had made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation's freedom. Your strength and courage in the face of such loss inspire us all. From the Vietnamese American Armed Forces Association, Washington, D.C.
As I wrote on my Facebook page this morning, exactly 10 years ago today, my husband and me were residing in Fort Drum, New York, and he was in Fort Polk, Louisiana, doing JRTC training. And we weren't sure if they were going to come back or if they were going to send him to New York City to help out with the terrorist attacks up there. And then 2 years ago today, my husband actually moved in with me, body to Afghanistan, and he obviously didn't come back home because he was killed in action March 22nd, 2010. But a year ago today, we celebrated with Charlie Company 2508 out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where my husband was at. We celebrated a year ago today that the platoon did come back, minus the 5 soldiers out of 2nd Charlie 2508 that did not return. So for us to be here tonight is a very special privilege. So thank you all so much for having us.
Mr. and Mrs. Sung Nguyen, the parents of Specialist Dan Nguyen, the United States Army, who gave the ultimate sacrifice in Afghanistan in 2007 by awarding a Fallen Heroes Scholarship in the name of Specialist Nguyen. VAFA remembers and honors the courage of Dan and your family. Know that we will always be part of your military family. Mr. and Mrs. Sung Nguyen, please come up.
Unfortunately, Mr. and Mrs. Sung Nguyen could not be with us tonight. I believe they sent a family representative, but in the event that they're not here, we will make sure that the word gets to them. Thank you very much.
Third, we wish to honor Mr. and Mrs. Lung La, the parents of Corporal Bin Lay, United States Marine Corps, who gave the ultimate sacrifice in Iraq in 2004 by awarding a Fallen Heroes Scholarship in the name of Corporal Lay. VAFA remembers and honors the courage of Bin and your family. Know that we will always be part of your military family. And the plaque reads, VAFA Fallen Heroes Scholarship in loving memory of Corporal Bin and Lay, United States Marine Corps. On behalf of a grateful nation and the Vietnamese American community, the Vietnamese American Armed Forces Association hereby establishes its Fallen Heroes Memorial Scholarship in loving memory of Corporal Bin N. Lay, United States Marine Corps, who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. It is our hope that this scholarship will forever honor Bin's life and selfless devotion to duty by helping future generations of worthy young students to pursue their dreams and inspire a lifetime of public service. From the Vietnamese American Armed Forces Association.
On behalf of the family, we would like to thank you, appreciate that WAFA have commemorated all the fallen heroes who have served the country, including all American and Vietnamese, including my son, Marine, Corporal Marine Ben Lee. I hope that this scholarship for 13 fallen heroes will be a little a token to appreciation what they have done for the country. And
we are very lucky this evening to have Major General Tony Taguba, U.S. Army retired, as our special guest speaker.
I want to especially thank the Vietnamese American Armed Forces Association, especially to Mr. Tino Din, and his organizing team for inviting me to join you here this evening, especially in remembrance of the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks in the United States. It's a somber evening, of course, a somber day, and today's a day of remembrance. As we all know, the date is September 11, 2001, was a lifelong changing event, not only for our country, but for the rest of the world.
American Studies program at the University of Maryland. And the plaque reads, Leadership Award presented to Major General Antonio M. Taguba, U.S. Army retired, in recognition of your leadership, dedication, and vision in founding the Pan-Pacific American Leaders and Mentors organization that advocates mentoring and promotes professional development, retention, and the advancement of Asian American Pacific Islander leaders. The Vietnamese American Armed Forces Association and the Vietnamese American community appreciates your friendship and your service to our nation. Thank you very much.
Our next keynote speaker for this evening is Mr. Thomas Phan. Mr. Phan is the Executive Director of the Asian American Government Executives Network and is a member of the Senior Executive Service, the highest echelon of civil service in the U.S. government. He currently serves as the Director of the Office of Policy and Business Operations at the Office of Science in the U.S. Department of Energy.
Kính thưa quý vị quan khách, thưa các anh chị thuộc Hội Quân nhân người Mỹ gốc Việt. Kính thưa tướng Lữ Lan và các tướng lãnh của trường võ binh sĩ quan Việt Nam. Thật là hân hạnh cho tôi được chia sẻ bức thư ngỏ này về những cảm nhận của người chiến sĩ Việt Mỹ. Qua đôi giây phút ngắn ngủi tâm tình, tôi mong các anh chị sẽ hiểu thêm và nhìn thấy được tinh thần của một người chiến sĩ Việt Nam. Là một cựu chiến sĩ của quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa, đã tham dự vào những trận đánh vào những ngày tháng cuối cùng của tháng 4 năm 75, khi miền Nam Việt Nam rơi vào tay Cộng sản. Đi tù cải tạo 5 năm, đã thoát ra và được tái sinh ở đất nước tự do Hoa Kỳ. Tôi xin được nói với các anh chị về tinh thần đấu tranh và tinh thần xây dựng của người chiến sĩ Việt Nam. Dear all distinguished guests, dân tộc Việt Nam ta có lịch sử 4.000 năm văn hiến và 4.000 năm di sản của quân nhân chiến đấu trường kỳ. Bên dòng lịch sử văn hiến là những quá trình lập quốc, đấu tranh và xây dựng. Lập quốc là công lao của tổ tiên ông cha chúng ta, là công lao của mỗi một người dân nước Việt. Trong thời chiến, người chiến sĩ Việt Nam vừa là dân và vừa là quân. Là quân để đấu tranh cho sống còn, giữ gìn làng xóm, là dân để xây dựng nhà cửa, làng mạc cho thế hệ con cháu mai sau. Bây giờ chúng ta sẽ nói qua một phút về hình ảnh và phong cách hào hùng của người chiến sĩ Việt Nam. Đạo sống của người xưa có câu tu thân, tề gia, trị quốc, bình thiên hạ. Chiến sĩ Việt Nam mang cái hào khí của đấng nam nhi và thanh nữ. Với đầu đội trời và chân đạp đất, tôi xin chia sẻ hai câu thơ của Nguyễn Công Trứ. Đã trót sinh ra trong trời đất, phải có danh gì với núi sông. Vì hào khí phải có danh gì với núi sông. Nên chiến sĩ Việt Nam sống với châm ngôn tổ quốc, danh dự và trách nhiệm. Tổ quốc phải đứng hàng đầu. Các anh chị thân mến, hai chữ trách nhiệm của người chiến sĩ Việt Nam vừa là quân vừa là dân. Trong châm ngôn đã diễn tả hình ảnh yêu thương, khiêm tốn, hiền hòa, dũng cảm và bất khuất của người dân đất Việt, đặt trời lên đầu, gánh vác sơn hà trên đôi vai và mang tình thương của gia đình trong con tim. Có đấu tranh là có hy sinh và chia ly. Trải qua nhiều thế hệ, chia ly và hy sinh gắn liền với nếp sống của người chiến sĩ Việt Nam. Họ gác bút nghiêng công danh, sự nghiệp, gia đình để đáp lên lời sông núi khi đất nước tràn ngập khói lửa của quân thù. Suốt trong lịch sử 4.000 năm, chiến sĩ Việt Nam đã chiến đấu trong than trường để gìn giữ mảnh đất của ông cha, sẵn sàng hy sinh và chấp nhận chia ly. Tôi xin chia sẻ hai câu thơ của Lý Thủy Ý với các anh chị chiến sĩ Việt Nam. Vì tất cả những người trong cuộc chiến đều mỉm cười chấp nhận sự chia ly, vì chúng mình cũng là người trong cuộc chiến. Em không buồn khi tiến bước anh đi. Thưa các anh chị, chúng ta có khi yếu, chúng ta có khi mạnh, nhưng chúng ta không bao giờ thiếu anh hùng. Đó là câu nói của anh hùng Lê Lợi. Dù chúng ta mạnh hay chúng ta yếu, thì dân tộc Việt Nam luôn luôn đấu tranh để bảo vệ và xây dựng, chứ chúng ta không đấu tranh để tàn phá. Các anh chị được thừa hưởng dòng máu oai hùng và can đảm và truyền thống đấu tranh bất khuất của ông cha. Các anh chị mang hình ảnh của những hào kiệt và anh thư đất Việt, với một phong cách tự tại là nhân dân, chí hướng và chí khí cao ngất trời xanh. Tôi rất hãnh diện được nhìn thấy nơi các anh chị một nếp sống hiện sinh, tâm hồn yêu tự do, tranh đấu cho nhân quyền, xây dựng phục vụ cộng đồng với một tinh thần cao khiết. Điều đáng hãnh diện hơn nữa là những hoài bão và chí hướng của phụ huynh đã được thực hiện nơi các anh chị. Your parents live through you. Xin đừng quên, đất Việt là mẹ, là quê hương của chúng ta. Xin hãy nhớ công ơn của tổ tiên. Mảnh đất đó là nơi ông cha đã sinh thành, đã đấu tranh và sinh tồn. Những hơi thở tự do và nhân quyền phải được tiếp tục liên lụy tranh đấu cho người dân. Please, xin đừng quên, Hoa Kỳ là của Tổ quốc của chúng ta. Chúng ta phải có bổn phận và trách nhiệm đối với Tổ quốc Hoa Kỳ. Các anh chị không những là con dân của Hoa Kỳ mà lại còn là chiến sĩ của Hoa Kỳ. We are soldiers. Chúng ta cần phải bảo vệ, đấu tranh và xây dựng cho Tổ quốc Hoa Kỳ. Xin tiếp tục mang truyền thống tốt đẹp của người chiến sĩ mà các anh chị đã thừa hưởng được từ ông cha. Không riêng tôi, tất cả đồng bào Việt Mỹ rất hãnh diện với các anh chị. Tôi xin chia sẻ hai câu thơ của Nguyễn Công Trứ để tặng quý anh chị. Chúc tất cả luôn mãi sống trong tinh thần và phong cách của một người chiến sĩ Việt Nam. Có trung hiếu nên đứng trong trời đất, không công danh thả nát với cỏ cây. Because we run out short time, I just gave you one more story when I was in the concentration camp, and I will do the closing. I was wounded a few times and finally imprisoned by the communists at the end of the war. I was detained in the communist concentration camp for 5 years, was tortured and nearly killed, and suffered from accident, sickness, and malnutrition. Many people died to the labor and accident. In my camp, half the people died after 2 years. We then combined with another camp. One time I tried to escape, and they found out, and they tortured me several hours. Finally, I was dropped from a height and felt my chin. I heard a loud crack. I felt unconscious. I have broken my jaw, my ribs, slashed my tongue, and damaged my pelvic area. Blood gushed forth from my mouth. They thought I was dead, and they wrapped me in a mat and buried me in a nearby graveyard. Fortunately, the heavy rain on that night washed away most of the soil above my burial hole and created a small opening for air. 2 days later, when the prisoners go work nearby, they find out that I'm agonizing. They dug me out from my grave and they took me home to their camp. Because of my broken jaw, I couldn't eat for years. So they used their food ration and put in a handkerchief and squeezed juice into my mouth. Laying there under the bamboo bed for almost a year, waiting for my bone to grow back, my back became very infected. I can feel 100 of maggots burrowing in my back. I endure much more to survive, but I don't have time to share you more. But at least that is one of the major things when it happened to me. when I was in concentration camp. But at least I want to give you one typical day of the Vietnamese prisoner in re-education camp in few minutes. Every morning at 4 a.m. when you hear the bomb shell, you have to light up. If you don't light up, that's at the end of your day. We know who can survive to next day or who cannot come to next day if you don't come up. If you can't go to work on that day, they will put you into the separation home. In the separation home, people light up on each other and wait for dying. I saw so many friends of mine at night, they have to tie themselves to the pole. They sleep standing because they are afraid of that night, if they sick, they don't stand up, next day, they will get killed. Finally, I want to do closing. It's just a some story of how I survived, so that you can remember those million soldiers who never have a lucky stand here tell you that story. I have been sharing with you all of those. Finally, at closing, I would like to thank our host, VAFA, its members, sponsors, and many others who have made this event possible. I commend the VAFA outstanding initiative and its continued success, both today and in the future. Thank you very much for inviting me to your wonderful and meaningful event this evening. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless America.
Thank you, Mr. Phan. That was really touching. I think it was very important to hear the stories from the concentration camps. It's really good for us to know. And so we would like to present him with the plaque. And if we can read it. And last but not least, we have our final plaque to present. So our final plaque for appreciation award, we want to present to Mr. Tino Dinh. Mr. Tino, please come up here. We want to present this to you in appreciation of your support and leadership in organizing the 3rd annual VAFA Fallen Hero Scholarship Fundraiser Banquet. Your tireless effort and dedication helped make the banquet a resounding success. And I'm really glad he's here to help us, because without him, this would not happen. So thank you.
Let's hear it for all the volunteers that helped out with this tonight.
238045.
Do we have a winner? Do we have a winner? Miss Riggs. We sure do. Thank you so much, Ann. Thank you. We have one down. You got it? Oh my goodness. Woo. 2 for 2. Good job, Michael. All right, Russian roulette. Come on back up there, Cameron. Next, we got a very, very special prize, everybody. It's actually framed from a flag flown over in Iraq from one of our brothers deployed overseas. It's seen battle, everybody. Cameron, who's the lucky winner?
238041.
Do we have a winner? Please come on. Ticket, please. That's a winner. All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Before we get to the last and final prize that we have a very special gift, a donation from a very dear friend of us, She has been very helpful with all of our radios and TVs that we've done here in the DC area. In addition, we want to thank you all, the media, who's very supportive of us so far. And I'm speaking of Go Mai Nguyen. She's been very helpful, and so thank you so much, Go Mai, for your $200 donation. Thank you so much. And also in here we have one from Go Tam Nguyen for $50. Thank you very, very much. So guys, this last prize we're going to have is a very, very special one. This basically is the trifecta. It has the U.S. flag, the Vietnam flag, the signature by Commander Le Ba Hong, and the ball cap from his ship. So this is a very, very special one. When we actually had this event down in Atlanta, one of these frames fetched over $5,000 from one of the people who attended. But tonight, due to the somberness of the occasion, we're not going to do that. This will be a mere raffle. So please.
238011.